I'm back with another video, and today what I want to come and talk to you about are some books that I feel like are helpful for anyone who want to branch off into the hair industry, anyone who's already in the hair industry, or anyone who kind of wants to change up and revamp their business. Some books I read like a couple of years ago that I feel like that they were very helpful for me. I feel like they'll be helpful to anyone else because one thing, when you are starting a business, the most important thing is to research, read and research. It's very essential for your business. That's pretty much it. It's essential for your business. You have to be knowledgeable about your business. You can't just jump off into something and say, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. You want to have that back knowledge, and these books, they really helped me along the way, and I feel like they'll help anyone else who wants to branch off into this industry. Very knowledgeable. It's a way to pretty much plan out your business. It is very helpful. But anyways, I don't want to sit here and just blab. I'm gonna get into it. It's just a couple of books. I'm pretty sure there's way more out there, but these are the ones that I read personally. They help me, and I feel like they'll help you. You can read them, take what I say into consideration or not, and keep it moving, but I feel like they'll help. The first book is by Ming Lee. It's called Best Marketer Wins. I purchased this book I don't know how many years ago. I want to say probably when it first came out, but this book was really helpful for me. And one thing that I did like about this book, before I get into that, it's a very short read. If you're not a reader, all these books that I recommend, they're not that long. It's about 90 pages, but at the same time, once you go through like a chapter or a couple of pages, there's kind of space for you to jot down notes basically of what was talked about previously in the pages before. So it's a really short read. You can get this read in like a day, a couple hours, an hour or so. But it's a really good book. It's a good way to write a lot of your plans down, a lot of your goals down, weekly goals, monthly goals, daily goals. It's a lot to take in, but honestly, this book is really helpful, and I feel like it's really essential for your business. I recommend anyone read this book, anyone that wants to branch out in the hair industry. She talks about, how she first got started. If a lot of you don't know how she first got started, and I really, when I go through these books, I don't want to tell you what they're about because I don't want to spoil anything. So I feel like you should read them yourself. But if you're not a planner and if you don't write things down, I feel like this will help you get that way. Because throughout every chapter, I wouldn't even say chapter, I would say a couple of pages, it basically tells you ways to improve your business, or ways to, like, if you don't have your business yet, ways to start. Like, for instance, it says list some ways you can increase your income, and then it has ABC. Like in the previous pages before that, she talked about her income. Now it's like, after you read what she discussed, what's some ways that you can increase yours, and you would write that down. Maybe you hadn't thought about that before, but now it gives you a chance to write it down. And I'm not going to show you because I don't want you to see what I wrote. But yeah, I would recommend this book to anyone. The next book, I read this so long ago. Honestly, I can't remember when I read this book, but it was a good read. It's a little bit longer. It's about 130 pages in length, 130, 140, but it's called The SixFigure Hair Business. The ultimate blueprint on how to create a six-figure hair extensions business in 6 months or less. It can be done. If you want to have a hair business in 6 months or less, I suggest that you read this book. It's very informative. When I read, I like to go through and I like to highlight major key points that I feel like will help me throughout the book that I want to take from the book. It's a short read, honestly. It's a lot of pages, but honestly, it's a short read. If you can see, the words are pretty big. So if you're not a reader, I promise you it won't take you long at all. But it talks about so much in this book, and like I said, I don't want to tell anyone what's in these books, because I really want you to purchase them for yourself, and I really want you to read them yourself, because you're going to take a lot from these books. I promise you it won't be a waste of time. You're going to take a lot from the books, and yeah, you really need to read them. This book is a very, very short read. The next book, very, very short read. It's only 30 pages. You can finish it in like 10 minutes. I think I read this book while I was at work. I read this after my business was established. I actually found this on Barnes and Nobles because, like I said, I'm a researcher. I'm always on Google researching things. I like to research things myself rather than asking somebody else about stuff. And I was actually searching on Barnes and Noble's website, and I was just looking for hair books. And this book that I'm about to show you, it came up, and then also that's how I found this book, just by searching. But anyways, this is called Secrets of the Hair Industry. It's a very short read. It's 30 pages. You can finish it 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. And in this book, it just talks about the booming hair industry. It talks about all types of myths that are in the hair industry. Even though it is a short read, I learned a lot from this book. Like, as you can see, once again, I've highlighted some things that, I want to keep to memory. A lot of stuff that I didn't know, I know now. Before I read this book, like, I might not have known. And that's why I say research is very important. It's important to do your research because you want to have back knowledge in the industry that you're in. And like I said, for this book to just be 30 pages, it's very, very informative, and you will learn a lot about what's true and what's not true. Selling hair extensions and just being in the hair industry. So I suggest anyone read this book. And once again, I got this off of Barnes and Noble's website. The next book, I bought this book when it first came out. It's a short read as well. It's about 60 to 70 pages, and this is The Young Boss Blueprint. That was Jada's book. It was very informative. Even though it's short, it's very informative. Her book is kind of similar to Ming's. I'm not going to say similar as in talking about business-wise, but it's similar because when she talks about something, she kind of gives you space to jot down your thoughts and your ideas and everything like that. It's a good read. I suggest anyone read this book as well. I also suggest like young entrepreneurs who are wanting to get off into the hair industry, this book will be for you, just because if you followed her journey, you'll see how she started out so young. And I would say this is for a younger crowd as well, because I feel like they can relate more because how young she was when she started. She talks about all that in the book, so I don't want to go in depth about what's in her book. So I kind of want you to read it yourself, purchase it yourself and read it yourself. But that's another good book. And last but not least, it's actually not a book that has anything to do with the hair industry. It's a book that I found on Barnes and Noble, once again, on their website once again, and it just talks about, I love to read about people's back history, how they started from nothing and then became something. So I added this book to my list because the 3 people that they talk about in this book, they all started from nothing. They all grew up with no money. Nothing. No money, no nothing. And they built like billion-dollar empires. It's a short read. as well, not too long, 100 pages. You could finish this in a day or two depending on what type of reader you are. But it's called Billionaire Branding, and it talks about the back history of Jay-Z, Diddy, and Dr. Dre. And it just talks about basically how they started with nothing and built their billion-dollar empires. It's very inspiring, so I would say add this to your list as well. And then there's one book that I have not read yet, but I am looking into purchasing, and I'm looking at it right here. It's actually on Amazon, and I will put the link in the description for this book. It is called Evolving Your Hair Business to 7 Figures with the 7-Figure Hair Boss, and it's 22 steps to assist with running a successful hair company. And it is by Jalen White. I have not read that, but I do want to purchase this book, and I will put the link in the description for this book as well. Because I feel like this is going to be a good book, because this one says 7 figures and then this book here is 6 figures, so that kind of lets you know that, you know, there's more money to be made, because I mean, this book is probably more outdated than the book I'm looking at on Amazon, and that just lets you know how evolving the hair industry is. So I'll put the link to this book in the description, and once I read this book, I'll probably do maybe like a book review on this book, just so you all, if you don't read it, I might do a book review, I don't know yet, but I just encourage you all to read it. But like I said, research is very important. It's very essential for your business to do research. You always want to know back history about your business. You always want to stay on top of your game in your business. You always want to know what's going for right now, and that's why I say research is so important. The internet will be your best friend, and reading will be your best friend. You watching somebody else's business page is not gonna keep you in the know about what's in right now. Do your research, and anybody that's trying to start a business, research before. I researched for 2 years before I even dropped my business. Like, I researched 2 years. It was nothing but research, nothing but contacting vendors, nothing but reading, nothing but emailing. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot to it, and I don't want to get too in depth in that, because that could be for another video. But like I said, reading is essential for your business. Knowing the back history, being knowledgeable, period, in your business, because nobody wants to work with somebody who doesn't know nothing about the industry that they're in. It's very important. I will leave the titles of all these books in the description, and I will leave the link for the book on Amazon for the 7-Figure Hair Boss. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was very informative. Until next time.